I think I'll have to try that because going back is somehow difficult to do now. I hope it works out.
Diese Reise niemals enden. Das Tun kommt aus dem Sein allein, allein aus Dimensionen, die Illusionen und Sensationen lohnen.
I think I'll sign up for Erzberg next year. With that, well, joking aside, I'll try to keep to the right, then I'll be fine. You just have to let it roll, basically. Don't slow down too much and don't go too fast, of course. I'll leave the camera running now. And also manage this passage without having to add a third mark to the fairing. Now that I'm actually out there for the first time, apart from yesterday's little bit, I'm really pushing myself with my light marching pack, weighing about 50 kilograms. And that's on old path laid out by the Romans on their slaves. No, I think the Romans actually built them themselves, the soldiers, in exchange for pay or income. Never mind, that's another story. Anyway, going downhill is always possible in principle. I've noticed that when it gets really rough, the front wheel becomes very light and then tends to lose all traction. Just become a plaything of stones. A bit like a pinball or the ball in a pinball machine, which just thunders off somewhere. You can see it, it's going downhill. Now we have weight on the front wheel and I can pretty much ride where I want to. As I said, it's different when riding uphill because you want to get it over with quickly because it's easier with more momentum and the front wheel is no longer inclined to steer at all. Just fall over. That happened twice already. Oops, I lost control. That's just how it is. And the third time will come at some point, I bet you. Right. It's a bit flatter now. I think we were almost 1000 meters up, if I remember correctly. I'm already sitting now because I don't think it's that difficult to ride anymore. And oops, I slipped again a bit. The long suspension travel at the rear, the shock absorber I built myself, really does the job. I think paid off quite well and didn't cost the earth. If you do a little research, you can do it yourself. So left or right? Right? And if you don't know how to do it, you can read about it on my website. If you don't speak English, you can easily translate it back into German or any language you prefer. And then maybe try it yourself. Yeah, it's nice and flat there right now. And I could also turn on these locus maps. I think there's also an inclination sensor. It would be interesting to see how steep these descents are. We'll ride on the far right so that the rock leaves us alone. We'll stay on the far right again, stand up so the suspension doesn't have to cope with me and my light field pack all the time. Let's see. A little wheelie. I've never been lucky enough to be able to do a wheelie. Is there a German word for wheelie? I'll just say Hinterradfahren. When I tried it after the plaster cast came off, 2 weeks later I broke my toe again. The big one. Yes, there is civilization. He wasn't quite so happy. The young, I almost said young Roman. Oh well. It's definitely a nice property, but if there are houses, then the road probably won't be quite so dramatic anymore. The asphalt has us back. We are not supposed to be on it from this side, but I didn't come from that way. So I don't think I'm really guilty of anything. I didn't see a 50 km/h sign anywhere, no, a no entry sign. When they paint letters on whiteboards, like Romans go home 100 times, I just don't understand because I can't speak, write, or read Italian. Well, I could read it. I probably pronounce it wrong. Probably, definitely. And what it means or what it signifies, even less. So expect perhaps stop, because I think that's the same almost everywhere. After the short asphalt, there is now a pretty nice gravel road where I actually also can have wheel spin with this moto. Not out of every corner, but the one or the other. Right now, light is not light enough. That was a short stop, and it's always the same. If you don't keep rolling, you fall over. So, here comes the next attempt to get the thing back up. It's laying there really stupid, isn't it? Right. Mob number 3. It's really bad. However, it's not necessarily just riding gravel roads anymore, but rather rougher terrain. The next one, no longer rideable, with like field luggage. That really doesn't look good. I laid the moped down because the stand isn't working and I just can't ride down it on my own. It's so rough. They're in the groove. It's really questionable. I hope there is an alternative route somewhere over there. I'll take a look. I haven't found an alternative route down there yet. Go into that slope, probably not sitting on it anymore, but pushing it into until you are in the groove and hoping that the side pegs will just slide down on the left and right, scraping along the rocks and the earth wall. Then there's another one of those things down there. The question is, what next? If I get stuck there, I can unload, ride out somehow, and evacuate bit by bit. Really stupid. Above all, turning around might be just be possible there, but riding backwards is already very difficult. Well, we'll see what happens. Next to it is a path that doesn't really exist. I think that's almost better. Just have to manage to walk alongside it or sit on it and feel your way down very slowly, perhaps without the engine running, so that you can brake the rear wheel better with the clutch and have both legs for a good stand. I think I'll have to try that because Going back is somehow difficult to do now. I hope it works out. First, I'll check if I have signal there. 911. A funny announcement from the sat-nav. Just 5 minutes, and I'll be 360 meters further on. Well, who would have thought? The first hurdles has been cleared, and it wasn't that difficult. I've practiced it decent often enough at home by lowering my moped from the second floor on the street. Nevertheless, I'm going to take it very easy now, using the rear brake through the engine and the front brake. Yeah, when I'm down there at some point, hopefully we'll see each other again. So, the worst is now behind me. Now I'll let myself roll over the stones with the engine running. Luckily, my legs are so long that they reach the ground, just like everyone else, by that way. Unless they're sitting on a moped that's too high for them, of course. Yeah, it's almost like a children's birthday party. Let's see. I let it roll for a moment. Very nice. We'll stand still again in the moment, but no, it's already neutral, quite exhausting, especially when you're not in good shape. Yeah, but that will come automatically with time through this grilling fitness center training. Fitness center par excellence. Oh dear, then we roll along again for a bit without the engine. The grassy green department is also happy about that. I'm going to take another break anyway. In the meantime, I've also mastered this section by tapping down and acting like a dumbbell with the engine turned off. And now it's relatively easy going downhill again, at least up to that point. But even that is einfach käsig. Sorry for that German. Easy cheesy. Now we are at 586 meters above sea level. I don't know when the classic asphalted route starts, but hopefully I'll reach it again at some point. I'm back on the main road. If I were to continue now straight, I'd be back in the countryside. But I'm actually going to leave it at that for today. It was really tough for me to get started again with hefty climbs and flay. So now I'm going to find out where I should and want to go on next.
Junge Römer, die Nacht ist jung wie ihr, vergesst das morgen. Kennt ihr die Sonne noch? Die Nacht ist jung wie ihr und da im Land, wo jeder Traum gelandet ist, man vergisst young romance. There is a night before.
I'll write to MOB, Mob, Man Overboard. That doesn't really work in German. That's because of the Garmin. I'll show you quickly. It's this button. I hope you can see it. where it says NAV, it says MOP underneath. Press it when you are using this old Garmin in marine mode, and you might actually be able to find your lost comrade on the high seas. And that's why we changed it to man overboard. If we fall off the moped while the engine is running and the handlebars touch the ground, then it's a mop, a man overboard. If the engine is not running, it doesn't count. Some pretty heavy battle scars there. And last but not least, the stand broke off completely, which doesn't really matter anyway, because it needs to be welded anyway. And you can already see the battle scars a little bit. The two side backs are still fine. That was the first battle scar from yesterday. The tire accessories, of course, that has also shaken things up. It's no longer the best packing option for really rough off-road riding with extra luggage in the form of tires. That's my tank bag, and one of the buckles also has broken, so today losses are relatively high. But that's just the way it is when you ride on rougher terrain. Yeah, now I'll see where I'll be staying for the night, whether it will be a free spot somewhere, a campsite, or maybe even a room for a change. I don't know if you can really see it now. I've leaned the moped against the tree at the campsite. Down there I have my stove. Now you can probably see a little bit that I've already cooked tortellini, I think, with a sauce. My sleeping place. And yeah, there were some more losses to report, namely my motorbike jacket is gone. I lost that too. That means today was a really sad day, which actually started off great and somehow, despite everything, was actually fine because the off-road riding was amazing. So with that in mind, I'll keep it short, eat my dinner, and then go and take care of myself and look for a welder tomorrow.